I just finished watching The Midnight Club, but none of my friends have watched it, so here I am. The Midnight Club on Netflix is the latest series from creator Mike Flanagan, who you might know from Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor, Midnight Mass, Hush, Gerald's Game, and a million other things. It follows a group of teenagers living with terminal illnesses in a hospice, and they sneak out of their rooms at night to tell each other scary stories. And sometimes they see ghosts, but I'll get to that in a minute. I will say I think it's worth watching at least once, but it's currently sitting at a 58% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, so do with that information what you will. Maybe it's the millennial in me, the 90s baby part of me that enjoyed / got a little traumatized by Are You Afraid of the Dark? But my favorite part of this show was the kids telling their stories. I think the way they portrayed their insecurities and fears through the scary stories they were telling each other, I really enjoyed that. I think that was really cool. And also, they were just good little stories. My second favorite part was playing a little game I like to call, Hey, I know them from that other Mike Flanagan show. Like, oh, this random woods lady? I know her from Hill House and Midnight Mass. That janitor going on a monologue? I remember his monologue from Hill House. Oh, there's the E.T. guy from Hill House and Bly Manor and Midnight Mass. And maybe Gerald's Game? Was he in Gerald's Game? I think he was the dad in Gerald's Game. I don't know. He was in Hill House and Bly Manor and Midnight Mass. I know that. So I don't think there's too much to spoil with this show, but spoiler warning. I went into this show thinking that it was just going to be one season like all of the other shows, and then I got to the end of it and I was just like, wait, that's it? Like, there were just all these questions and things that were left open that we didn't get answers to, and I was just sitting there like so confused because I thought maybe I missed something. And it wasn't like an open to interpretation thing. It was just like they introduced these ghosts and this shadow monster, and Ilanka was like having these moments where she seemed like she was traveling back in time, and there were just no answers for what any of that actually was. There were like some little things that it could have been, but there was no actual resolution to it. Then I was reading, and it turns out that he's hoping for a season 2, and I understand leaving some things open so you can continue a story. But then if you don't get that second season, you just have one season with a lot of unanswered questions, and it feels like unfinished to me. One thing we did find out, that random woods lady, that's Julia Jane. Obviously. Like, I don't know what it was. I'm not like a super sleuth, but as soon as I saw her, I was just like, oh, that's clearly an older Julia Jane, right? But it took Ilanka until the end of the show to even figure that out, and I don't get how, because she was really hung up on Julia Jane and like how they had the same illness, I think, and she had read up on her and all this stuff, and she just didn't realize that the person she was talking to was Julia Jane this whole time. And I don't get it. Ilanka's a smart kid, so I don't understand how she didn't put that together sooner, but okay, whatever. I do think it was an interesting story. I think that there is a lot to what these characters are dealing with, you know, having these terminal illnesses, and they're young and they gotta figure out how to cope with that and how to navigate that, and then they have to be strong for their families, and I think there's a lot to that, and I think Mike Flanagan does a good job exploring that kind of thing. So if there is another season, I'll watch it, and I hope to get some of the answers, and I hope to get a little more exploration of, you know, the stuff that they're dealing with. But I'm not like, dying for another season. I would watch it, but I'm not like super invested in it that I need another season. I thought I had more to say about this show than I actually did. So if I had to rank the Mike Flanagan shows, it would be Hill House, Bly Manor, The Midnight Club, Midnight Mass.